Sodom and Gomorrah are two of the most well-known cities in the Bible, infamous for their complete destruction due to the severity of their sins. Alongside Jerusalem, Bethlehem, Nazareth, Babylon, and Egypt, these twin cities hold a significant place in biblical history. Their story, set during the time of Abraham and his nephew Lot, is recounted in the book of Genesis. What sets Sodom and Gomorrah apart is the scale and severity of their judgment by God. The cities were utterly destroyed by fire, leaving no survivors, buildings, or even trees behind. The question arises, what were the sins that led to such a devastating punishment? In this article, we will explore the specific reasons behind the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, delving into their infamous acts of wickedness, idolatry, homosexuality, idleness, and pride. Along the way, we will uncover lessons from their story and understand why their names have become synonymous with immorality and divine judgment. The destruction of Pompeii. To better understand the fate of Sodom and Gomorrah, we can draw a comparison to the Roman city of Pompeii, destroyed in 79 AD by the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. Pompeii's destruction came suddenly, with its vibrant streets and peaceful life buried under ash and lava within hours. While Pompeii was destroyed by the forces of nature, Sodom and Gomorrah faced a deliberate and just judgment of God. Unlike Pompeii, the sins of Sodom and Gomorrah were clearly documented in the Bible, making their destruction a cautionary tale for humanity. Sin 1. Wickedness. The first sin of Sodom and Gomorrah was their overwhelming wickedness. In Genesis 18 verses 20 to 21, it says, "Then the Lord said, because the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and their sin is very grave, I will go down to see whether they have done altogether according to the outcry that has come to me. And if not, I will know." The outcry refers to the cries of those who suffer due to the city's widespread evil. Abraham pleaded with God to spare the cities, if even 10 righteous people could be found. However, there were none, which underscores the depth of their wickedness. The Bible defines wickedness as actions that are morally evil and harmful, including violence, deceit, cruelty, and dishonesty. Sodom and Gomorrah were cesspools of corruption and immorality, beyond any chance of redemption. Sin 2. Idolatry. Another sin attributed to Sodom and Gomorrah was idolatry. While not explicitly mentioned in Genesis, their disregard for God and moral values suggests they worshiped false gods or material possessions. Romans 1 verse 25 explains idolatry as when people exchange the truth about God for a lie and worship and serve created things rather than the Creator. Jeremiah draws a comparison between Sodom and Gomorrah and Jerusalem, stating in Jeremiah 23 verse 14, "But in the prophets of Jerusalem I have seen a horrible thing. They commit adultery and walk in lies. They strengthen the hands of evildoers, so that no one turns from his evil. All of them have become like Sodom to me, and its inhabitants like Gomorrah." Their idol worship symbolized a society that had turned away from God, leading to their moral decay. Sin 3. Homosexuality and sexual violence. One of the most debated sins of Sodom and Gomorrah is homosexuality. Many believe it was a primary reason for their destruction, but the Bible suggests it was one of many contributing factors. In Genesis 19, when 2 angels visited Lot, the men of Sodom demanded that Lot hand over his guests so they could sexually violate them. This act of sexual violence highlights their depravity. The Apostle Paul speaks about unnatural sexual desires in Romans 1 verses 26 to 27. Because of this, God gave them over to shameful lusts. Even their women exchanged natural sexual relations for unnatural ones. In the same way, the men also abandoned natural relations with women and were inflamed with lust for one another. Men committed shameful acts with other men and received in themselves the due penalty for their error. It is essential to note that while homosexuality is described as sinful in the Bible, it was not the sole reason for the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. Their sin extended to sexual violence and the complete perversion of God's design for human relationships. Sin 4. Idleness. Idleness, often overlooked as a sin, was another reason for the city's downfall. Ezekiel 16 verses 49 to 50 states, "Behold, this was the guilt of your sister Sodom. She and her daughters had pride, excessive food, and prosperous ease, but did not aid the poor and needy. They were haughty and did an abomination before me. So I removed them. When I saw it, the people of Sodom and Gomorrah lived in luxury, but failed to use their blessings to help others. Their lack of purpose and misuse of their abundance led to arrogance and moral decay. This serves as a warning to avoid complacency and to actively contribute to the betterment of society." Sin 5. Pride and sin. Perhaps the most damning sin of Sodom and Gomorrah was their pride and their sinful behavior. Isaiah 3 verses 8 to 9 describes this arrogance. "For Jerusalem has stumbled and Judah has fallen, because their speech and their deeds are against the Lord, defying his glorious presence. For the look on their faces bears witness against them. They proclaim their sin like Sodom. They do not hide it. Woe to them, for they have brought evil on themselves." The people openly flaunted their sins, losing any sense of guilt or shame. This defiance of God's authority sealed their fate, as they refused to repent or change their ways. The final judgment. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah culminates in their dramatic destruction. When the angels visited Lot, they warned him to flee with his family. Despite their warnings, Lot's wife looked back and turned into a pillar of salt, symbolizing the consequences of disobedience. Fire and brimstone rained down on the cities, erasing them from existence. Lessons for today. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah is a powerful reminder of the consequences of sin and the importance of living according to God's principles. It challenges us to avoid wickedness, idolatry, and pride, and to actively help those in need. By reflecting on their story, we can strive to lead lives that honor God and contribute to a just and compassionate society.